What is the most optimal training split? This is a highly contested topic. Some people say that the split doesn't matter as long as you're training hard and you're consistent, but I believe that is absolute bullshit and you should optimize your split. So we'll see what Dr. Milo Wolf has to say, so we can hopefully stop the bullshit he's spreading, dismantle him, and get some views off of it.
About a month ago, I polled you guys on what training routine you use. To my surprise, a large proportion of you are using routines that may be harming your muscle growth. Throughout the past decade, I've experimented with many routines, coached clients with many routines, and performed plenty of research in exercise science. So I decided to make this video. At the end of the video, I'll reveal the best routines, based on how many days you can make to the gym each week. To be honest, some of my picks will surprise you. I'll be ranking training routines based on 3 criteria. First, based on a scientific research, will this routine maximize muscle growth in most people?
Will the training routine maximize muscle growth for most people? What the fuck does that even mean? If you pick a good workout split and design that split, the individual programs correctly, with the right volume guidelines, right exercise selection, and so on, you can literally stick to the same workout split and routine from beginner to an advanced level, as the training on paper doesn't change that much over the years. Your knowledge about why it works and etc. grows exponentially, but good bodybuilding programming looks boring as fuck on paper.
Second, and this one's subjective, is this training routine fun and enjoyable to use for most people?
Enjoyment. Who the fuck cares about enjoyment? We care about progress. A true scientist, a doctor, shouldn't base his opinions off of enjoyment. You should look at the hard fucking facts on what is optimal and what isn't.
Third, are each of the workouts within a routine challenging, yet feasible?
That literally has nothing to do with the split itself. If your programming on the individual days sucks, even the most optimal program won't save you.
With that out the way, let's start with the bro split. In the bro split, you usually train 5 to 7 days a week and assign a muscle group to each day. Monday is chest day, Tuesday is back, Wednesday is shoulders, Thursday is legs, and Friday is arms. Incidentally, arms just happen to be trained on International Clubbing Day. You can see where the routine gets its name from. As the name implies, this routine is heavily biased towards the upper body. Out of 5 training days, 4 are dedicated to the upper body training and only 1 towards the legs.
This routine is heavily biased towards minimizing muscle growth and maximizing muscle loss.
That also makes it a pretty fun routine for most guys. Getting a juicy pump is a meme in beginner circles for a reason. Few things are as fun as demolishing a muscle group. That is, unless you're talking about your legs.
In my opinion, the most fun thing is to see insane progress and weight progressions inside the gym and see your physique blow the fuck up, which will not happen if you do the bro split.
The flip side of spending most of your week training upper body is that when it comes time to hit legs on a single day, that will be carnage. Cue a clip of Mike Israel throwing up and doing leg curls.
Dr. Mike is puking from leg curls to 20 fucking reps himself.
That's not to say it can't be done, but I've noticed that most advanced lifters eventually switch to a routine that allows them to train their legs twice a week and spread out their leg volume a bit more. It's much easier to get in your volume for legs across several days. That notwithstanding, the bro split is a pretty fun routine, especially if you skip the leg day. When it comes to the third criterion, unfortunately, most of the workouts are on the easy side. Even if you really push, training arms only gets so hard.
First of all, if training arms is easy to you, you are not pushing yourself at all in your arm training, and it shows. When I do a fucking set on preacher curls, it seems like I'm having a fucking exorcism and I need to rest for 5 minutes at least because my biceps are so fucking cooked from one set of preacher curls. If you're not taking the little isolation movements seriously and you're not exhausted after doing them, you're not taking your training seriously, and even the most optimal program or workout split won't save you. You need to execute even the little isolation movements which you think are not so essential with absolute crazy fucking intensity to the point where you are scared to approach a fucking set of preacher curls.
On the contrary, the leg day is too challenging and may even be hard to do for advanced lifters. So this routine scores pretty poorly on this criterion.
This doesn't even make any sense. Almost every single split has a leg day in it, and you shouldn't judge the split being good or bad by it having a fucking leg day and the other arm day being too easy. I assure you that no advanced lifter who has massive fucking legs will tell you that a leg day is too fucking hard and that they will skip it and choose another split. They embrace the challenge and the difficulty that comes with a leg day, and they let it build the character. They don't tear themselves down because a leg day is too fucking hard.
Finally, will the bro split maximize progress for most lifters? Probably not. a group of researchers from Florida recently preprinted a meta-analysis on training frequency and muscle growth. They found that while training frequency didn't play a big role for muscle hypertrophy, the effect did lean in favor of higher frequencies. The effect was slightly larger when going from training a muscle once a week to twice a week. The bro split, unfortunately, has you training many major muscle groups only once a week, which reduces muscle growth.
Most scientists say that training frequency doesn't matter when volume is equated, and that is absolute bullshit, because just one set twice per week gives you more stimulus than 8 sets done one time per week. How the fuck could 2 sets outperform 8 weekly sets? It is because high frequency training, when you're training 2 or even 3 times per week, maximizes the frequency of the first most stimulating set. You need 5 more additional sets just to match the stimulus of the first set, as not every single set you add within the workout grows exponentially in the stimulus you're creating, as every single subsequent set in the workout gives you less stimulus than the previous one. On top of that, every additional set you add within the workout gives you exponentially more muscle damage and fatigue, hindering your recovery and therefore progressive overload till your next workout. And as we know, progressive overload is the #1 sign of muscle growth occurring, which means that more volume within a workout actually impedes your muscle growth. High frequency training on top of that minimizes the time you spend in atrophy and maximizes the time you spend in the growth state, due to you hitting a muscle group again every time the atrophy or muscle growth period starts kicking in, which means that you're almost always in the growth state. Now compare that to doing a bro split where you're training a muscle group just one time per week. It doesn't matter how many fucking sets you do, even if it's 10, almost all of the stimulus and therefore muscle growth you've created in that single workout for a specific muscle group almost declines to zero, absolute zero muscle growth till your next workout.
The final issue with the bro split is that it forces you into training 5 days a week. This can be difficult to achieve, especially if you have a life outside of the gym.
The bro split is by far the worst split you could ever do. You're in the gym 5 times per week and you're not achieving even the 2 times per week frequency, which means it is a fucking waste of time.
Overall, the bro split goes into C tier. It's fun, but not ideal for progress.
The bro split is so bad, it shouldn't even be on the list.
Next, we have the full body split. Where the bro split is a neatly defined routine, the full body split is the opposite. When someone asks you what you're training today, you reply, everything. But usually, you don't actually mean everything. You're training some of your upper body and some of your lower body on the same day. With a lack of constraints, you can tailor each workout to be challenging yet feasible. If a workout is too hard, you can move one of the leg exercises to another day and replace it with an upper body exercise. If it's too easy, you can simply add more leg training. Full body routines facilitate challenging yet feasible workouts. For the question of fun, things get more subjective. On the one hand, you're missing out on the fun of having one muscle group get mega pumped.
The full body split is one of the most fun splits if you don't give a flying fuck about the pump and you love making progress.
On the other hand, if there's a muscle group you really hate training, you can avoid having that one dreaded day in your routine where you train exclusively that muscle. Likewise though, if there's a muscle you love training, you now get to train it during every workout.
Do you know how fun it is to train your chest or even do bench press every single fucking workout at the start of the workout? It doesn't get better than that.
On the whole, the full body routine can be fun, but probably not quite as fun for most people as the bro split. What about effectiveness? There's one downside, but a lot of cool upsides I'll get to in a second. The downside is that full body routines are actually hard to program. It's deceptively easy to crank up the volume on certain muscle groups while leaving other ones entirely neglected. Likewise, how you program bent over rows, hip hinges, or squats on consecutive days needs to be deliberated carefully. Count your weekly volume and program accordingly.
The full body split is known as being a beginner routine, but that couldn't be further from the truth. You can make crazy gains as a beginner, but it is fucking hard to program. But only if you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you think that volume is the main driver of hypertrophy. You can literally just program one set for every single muscle group within a workout and bias a slightly different region in another. Let's say you're doing a flat bench variation on day 1, and on the other day you can bias more of your upper chest, and so on. As you can see, it is actually easy to program a full body split if you don't give a flying fuck about volume and you don't want to bias every single muscle region and every single workout. Doing a flat bench, incline bench, a fly, and so on. Just pick one muscle group and bias one region. That's it.
However, full body routines allow nearly everyone to train a muscle twice a week. All you need is 2 workouts per week. So they're highly effective.
The full body routine is definitely the most time efficient routine you can do. Of course, the workouts itself take a bit longer because you're training your whole fucking body on one day. But as you said, you actually only need a 2 times per week frequency, which you can attain with training full body 2 times a week, you can achieve 80% of your muscle building potential by just training full body 2 times a week, which is so fucking time efficient.
If you're training with higher volumes or you're specializing, full body routines may become even more effective.
The full body split is one of the best splits there is for muscle group specialization. If you have a weak muscle group which you desperately want to bring up, just train a full body split, put that muscle group at the start of the session, and you will blow it the fuck up. You're maximizing the frequency of the first most stimulating set for the muscle group. You are minimizing the time spent on atrophy. You can just train your desired weak muscle groups at the very start of the session, which maximizes mechanical tension and motor unit improvement, giving you the best possible stimulus for the muscle group you could ever have.
Let's go back to the meta-analysis I mentioned earlier. When I spoke to the authors, they mentioned they were working on a new meta-analysis, this time on per session volume and hypertrophy. And based on the results, there might be a benefit to higher frequencies when volume is also high, say about 15 to 25 sets, because it allows you to take high volumes and spread them out across the week. In those cases, training muscle twice a week or more might become more beneficial.
No one on this fucking earth is recovering from 15 to 25 fucking sets if you're actually training hard. Your body takes 5 to 7 days to recover from just 6 sets within a workout. So claiming that performing 15 to 25 sets on a full body split is even achievable is fucking mind-boggling. But I agree that per session volume is much more important than weekly volume. As I said, 1 set twice per week gives you a better stimulus than 8 sets done 1 time per week, which means that weekly volume as a metric is absolutely useless, and you should only look at per session volume as a metric. You need to pick the right volume you can recover from with the specific frequency you're training at. For a full body split, where you're training every other day or 3 times a week, you can only recover from 1 to maximally 2 sets within a workout. But the 2 sets are a stretch. Let's say you're doing a shoulder press, which does hit the side delts, but it also involves the front delts. You could maybe add a lateral raise variation to hit that 2 set mark for the side delts. Another example is the quads. The quads have the best recovery out of any muscle group in your entire body, which means that they could maybe tolerate 2 sets. You could do a leg press, hack squat, and so on, and maybe add a leg extension. If you're progressing from that, it means that you're recovering and you could do those 2 sets. But please don't make the mistake of performing 2 sets within a workout for every single muscle group in a full body split, especially for the muscle groups which have the worst recovery out of your whole body.
So if you're really trying to bring up a muscle group by blasting it with higher volumes, or if you're training with higher volumes more generally, full body routines might cause more muscle growth by allowing you to titrate that volume more effectively across the week.
Again, frequency matters a lot if volume is equated, but you shouldn't equate your volume to 15 to 25 fucking reps.
On the effectiveness front, full body routines are S tier. Overall, full body routines go into low S tier.
Mr. Milo cooked with the placing. I agree. Full body, straight into S tier. Doing a full body split with just 1 set per workout is on paper more effective than doing a 2 time per week frequency like on an upper lower split and slightly increasing the volume. But that only applies if you can stick to the full body routine. If you hate doing so many rest days and training your whole body in 1 day, you should pick a 2 times per week frequency and maybe do an upper lower split instead of hopping around from 1 split to another.
Moving on to the upper lower split. This routine does a good job of distributing training across days, keeping each workout the perfect challenge. Since there's more muscle groups in the upper body you have to worry about, upper body days tend to have more exercises, but each exercise is easier. Whereas lower body days tend to have fewer exercises, but each exercise is harder. A well-balanced routine. Regarding fun, the upper-lower routine strikes a good balance. Upper body days are fun and allow you to get a juicy upper body pump on. Lower body days are grueling but manageable, since you spread things out a bit.
I completely agree. The upper lower split is very balanced. You're doing a few more exercises on the upper day, but it generally is easier than the lower day, which has fewer exercises, but is fucking hard.
You can easily tailor the upper-lower routine to emphasize your legs or upper body too. Want to bring up your upper body? Simply do upper, lower, upper, for a total of 3 upper body days and 2 lower body days.
That is a bad way to program upper lower if you want to bring up a specific region of your body, as the 3rd upper body day will not give you a good stimulus due to your training 3 days in a row. The fatigue and muscle damage you create within a single workout bleeds into the next workout, which means that putting an upper day after 2 subsequent training days, especially after a leg day, which will absolutely fry your brain, is a bad idea. If you want to bring up your lower body, you should preferably do it before the upper body day to give it the best stimulus. What I would do instead is to train upper lower, rest and repeat, which means that you're not training in a weekly cycle and you're skipping the 2 rest days that you have on the weekend, which means that you're training in a 6-day cycle, repeating the upper-lower cycle every time you have taken 1 rest day. This will maximize the frequency you can train your desired muscle group in and therefore give you a better stimulus. And to make the split even more effective for your specific muscle group, just put them at the very start of the session to give them the best stimulus.
Unlike bro splits, upper body splits also only require you to train 4 days a week, to train each muscle twice a week. For many people, upper-lower splits will achieve this.
I would personally never train more than 4 times or 4.5 times per week if you're doing that upper-lower rest repeat cycle, as any more than that impedes your ability to recruit maximum possible mechanical tension and moderate improvement due to your nervous system being absolutely fried due to you not recovering from the fatigue you've created, and it therefore bleeding into every single workout if you would train 5 to 6 times per week.
An underrated aspect of upper-lower routines is that to facilitate the use of antagonist paired supersets, where you superset a push and a pull movement, a bicep and a tricep movement, or even a leg curl and a leg extension. By training opposing muscle groups as a superset, 4 studies have suggested that you can shave 50% of time off your workouts while seeing the same muscle growth.
I and some clients of myself have experimented with supersets in the past, and we all came to the conclusion that straight sets are far superior. Supersets are fucking brutal if you're actually pushing yourself, and straight sets give you a much better stimulus due to not going to the next exercise with fatigue existent. So just do straight sets, don't fucking perform junk volume, which will therefore not give you the need or the desire to even try supersets due to your workouts not taking that long.
Overall, the upper-lower split is the jack of all trades of training splits. It will work in a variety of contexts pretty well. Into high A tier it goes.
Come on, man. Upper-lower goes into the S tier, okay?
Next, we have the push-pull legs routine. According to my questionnaire, 38% of you still use this routine. However, when interviewing me, Renaissance Periodization infamously declared the push-pull legs routine dead. Is that really true? Let's break things down. In terms of fun, I'm inclined to think most lifters enjoy this routine. When I ask the average, semi-serious man lifter in the gym what routine they follow, they almost invariably say push-pull legs.
Because the average gym bro doesn't have a fucking clue what he's doing.
And this routine does bias the upper body slightly more than an upper-lower routine. Instead of a 1-to-1 ratio, you get a 2-to-1 ratio. The routine also allows you to get a solid pump in the muscle group you're training.
What is up with all of these science-based gurus being fucking obsessed with the pump, yet not being even a main mechanism of hypertrophy and actually impeding hypertrophy? Don't standard scientists look at the hard fucking facts and not think about enjoyment, but what actually gives you meaningful results?
Push-pull legs ranks pretty well in terms of fun, though the leg day remains challenging. Likewise, pull days tend to be just a bit more fatiguing than push days.
Damn push days.
Whereas push days are usually a cakewalk. So while push-pull legs is pretty fun, it doesn't do too well in terms of each workout being challenging yet feasible. The leg day is an odyssey. The pull day is adequate, and the push day usually too easy.
Tell me you're not training hard without telling me you're not training hard. Enter Jordan Peters.
Let's fucking go! 2, 3, rest!
Now, we come to effectiveness. In case you didn't watch it, in the RP collab, I made the point that for push-pull legs to maximize growth, you would need to train 6 days a week always, since that would result in you training each muscle at least twice a week. But for many, getting to the gym 6 days a week is a struggle. So instead of opting for a push-pull leg split and failing to achieve it most weeks, they would be better off opting for a full body split and training each muscle at least twice a week anyways.
Not only is the push-pull leg split very inefficient due to you having to train 6 times per week to just achieve a 2 times per week frequency, which you can achieve with training full body 2 times per week. As I said, training above 4.5 times per week will not maximize your muscle growth potential due to the fatigue limiting you to do so.
The other issue with push-pull legs, in terms of effectiveness, is when specializing. If you're specializing on legs, for example, leg days become abhorrently difficult. And even if you're specializing on the upper body, you'd likely see more muscle growth if you just train the upper body a bit more frequently than the routine allows you to. A push-pull legs routine pigeonholes you into training each muscle twice a week. For those reasons, the push-pull legs routine goes into mid-B tier. It's not terrible, it can work under the right circumstances, but it's a situational routine at best.
The only viable way to program a push-pull leg split would be to perform really low volume so you don't accumulate too much fatigue and you can actually recover to the next workout, but that would mean that your workouts wouldn't even be 60 minutes long, but you're still training 6 times per week, going to the gym every single day, which is horrible for time efficiency. The other way would be Jordan Peters' style of push-pull legs, which would be push, pull, rest, legs, rest, repeat, which amounts to somewhat a 1.5 times per week frequency, which is not ideal at all for maximum muscle growth. But a lot of UK bodybuilders are following this template almost religiously and they're seeing great progress. They're fucking jacked. So if you want to stick to the push-pull legs template, please do it this way.
Now that we've covered the big 4 routines, we'll get into some of the routines you commented about. After all, many of you said you don't follow these big 4 routines. And well, there's actually some solid routines in there. The push-pull split involves you training your push musculature one day, your pull musculature the next. You could go,
Actually, muscles don't push-pull, they contract.
but lighten up. We're literally discussing a glorified training calendar. Just like an upper-lower, you can hit a twice-a-week frequency with just 4 days a week. People who like the push-pull split seem to really like it fun-wise. Regarding workout difficulty, this routine actually strikes a great balance. Since you train quads on push days and hamstrings on pull days, it evens the scales nicely.
This is a great split as it allows you to focus on either your upper body or your lower body by putting those muscle groups at the start of the session. So if you're really lower body dominant or you want that old school classic physique with small legs but a huge upper body, you can just do all the upper body work first and at the end of the session still hit your lower body, which will still get an effective stimulus due to your training with high frequency via this split. Another bonus is if you absolutely hate leg day and you don't want to dedicate a whole day to your lower body due to having upper body specific goals or whatever, you can just perform 1 to 2 leg exercises at the very end of the session, which will still give you a fucking great stimulus, but it will satisfy your bro behavior of wanting to blast your upper body.
But you do need to be slightly mindful of lower back recovery as a result. Push-pull goes into high ETA too.
I would highly advise you to think about axial loading when programming the push-pull split. There is no legs. Let's say you're doing a hack squat on the push day, you wouldn't want to do a deadlift variation on the other day and maybe do a back extension to take pressure off the spine. Now the other day when you're performing a leg exercise which isn't spine loaded like the leg press, you can perform a heavy hip hinge on the next day.
The Arnold split takes the bro split and improves on it in some regards. It keeps all the fun of demolishing 1 or 2 muscles at once, but bumps up the frequency for every muscle to at least twice a week, including the legs. The routine still keeps an emphasis on the bro muscles, the arms and the shoulders. But just like the push-pull legs routine, this routine requires you to train 6 days a week.
As I've mentioned on another video on this channel, if you want to bring up your arms especially, the Arnold split or performing a whole arm day is not the most efficient way to bring up your arms. Due to you getting into the session with fatigue existent due to your training chest and back on the previous day, and you also likely have some muscle damage present due to your having used your triceps and your biceps on the previous day, what I would rather do to bring up your arms is to just pick a high frequency split, like the full body split, the upper lower split, or the push-pull full body split, and perform your arm exercise at the very start of the session with recoverable volume. I assure you that this will give you much better stimulus due to every single training day essentially being an arm day. I assure you that your following pushing and pulling movements in that specific workout won't be affected that much.
Definitely an improvement over the bro split overall. Additionally, in contrast to push-pull legs routine, this split facilitates the use of antagonist paired supersets, making it a solid option for time-constrained lifters. Low ATEV, but only if you make it to the gym 6 days a week.
I will put the Arnold split into the B tier alongside the push-pull leg split, or even bump it down into the C tier. My camera died on me, but it is all good because the rest of the video wasn't as interesting anyway. So the conclusion to this video is that you should just pick a split that allows you to train for high frequency. That could be anything from full body, upper lower, and or a push-pull full body split. I'll make a follow-up video on why these high frequency splits are the best, like really in detail, and a how-to program video for each of these splits. So make sure to follow me right fucking now so you can watch those videos. Check out my website in the description and comments down below for one-to-one online coaching service and programs to get you fucking jacked. I don't know where the fucking camera is, but see you guys in the next video. My fucking statue is cramping up from holding the camera like this. Damn.